Hello, good morning or good night. I don't know where you are watching this recording in the future, but people in the future, we are talking about authentication, what we did last time. We're going to continue that. So, hope you enjoy it. Let me make it bigger, maybe that's better. All right. So, back in Security Day 4, that's still about hashing, and yesterday we talked about encryption vs hashing, password cracking, user authentication. Like user authentication means getting access to your application, like you check the login. If it's successful, you let them in actually. If not, you don't let them in. Today we're going to talk about authentication continued and account verification emails. This part, guys, in the curriculum is just about theory. Like I explain how it's done. I draw for you. We don't live code that. But if you want, we can live code it. How to implement that. Do you have power for that? So this is up to you. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's do live coding of that. Hope we have time. It's not that not so difficult, but anyway, let's see how it works. So let's talk about authentication continue. Today we will mostly practicing. It's like nothing that special new, just a little bit. We continue from yesterday. We will add user registration. We already did that actually. Okay, why I did that. All right. And if you notice, still our app, what we did yesterday with the login system and registration, has a very clear security problem. Okay. Who can guess what could be? Let me just, before we continue, I'm gonna copy what we did yesterday to the new file. Oops. Skip. All right. So let me run the application npm start. Oh, I don't have a .env. Huh, okay. .env. I need a port which is 777. I need a DB URI. So from where I can get my, let me check it here. 2506 course. Oh no, 0506 23 dot env. All right, here it is. Okay, great. Let's test it now. I want to talk about this, and if you guess, our app from yesterday, what we did yesterday, registration and so on, has a security problem. I'm gonna get all the users that I have. Let me check. Okay, these are the users that I have. The request is coming from somewhere to get all the users. It could be from your React application front end. Hey, give me all the users, and they receive an array of the users. What do you think about this response? What is a security issue? If you check, what is the problem? Any guess? No one? Nothing? We are thinking, Mickey?
Maybe password is shown.
Fantastic.
Oh, I found it.
That's it. Yes, that's a security issue. You are still sending the password of this user to the front end. Because, yes, it is hashed. Fantastic, no problem. But we know that we still, if they know which method or algorithm we use to hash this password, then they can crack it. Yeah, you saw that how it takes time, but they can. And it's a security issue. Then the response that is going to the front end, we need to make sure this is gone. We don't want to send the password to the front end. Yeah, so every response that goes from, if it's about the user, yeah, we don't want to send the password to the front end. That's the first security issue. And yeah, you were correct. So it is sending this hash password of the user in response. That should never be exposed. Okay, even with a fantastic password policy, hashes are still very private. And we don't want to leak extra information. We shouldn't even reveal what kind of hash is being used. We shouldn't even reveal data is stored in MongoDB. We shouldn't even reveal our server is an Express server. They shouldn't know which backend you are using, because there are lots of backend they use. You are using Express, some other people PHP, Python, or whatever. Yeah. The more information we expose, the easier it is for attacks. Basically, all accounts are constantly being attacked. It's just real. Like every second, there are millions of attacks that you can check in some websites. They show it to you. And automated bots attempt to log in constantly. Large corporations have extremely good brute force protection. Okay, so they have a security that they really check the brute force. Brute force, we talked about it. They just try to crack the passwords with some large loops or whatever they have, with the fantastic high-speed computers and so on. But this is a consideration in smaller APIs as well. The smaller APIs like our applications, our websites. You have to make sure your users are safe. This kind of stuff needs architects, seniors, and specialists. Yeah. In security or privacy critical apps, even error messages need securing. What you send as an error, yesterday we talked about it. I told you when someone tries to log in, or you shouldn't send, oh, the username is wrong, or the password is wrong. You shouldn't be clear what is wrong. You should say the username or password is wrong. In our application, if app crashes, we don't want to tell the users what software crashed. You don't want to send a stack trace error where even that happened. These things shouldn't be there. Okay? And if a login fails, do you tell your user which was wrong, password or email? Never. You shouldn't say that. So we talked about these things already, just as a review. In some countries, it might be bad if it's even exposed who uses an app. Yeah, some companies like in some countries, like you know what? I would like this one. As an example, a good example. I don't remember it now. Copilot. Let's ask an example. No, I don't. Let's ask GPT. Ah, see, that's the problem. Religious apps in countries with religious precaution using a Bible or Quran or other religious apps could put users at risk if their faith is not tolerated. So some apps, or LGBTQs or whatever, it's very important that you don't expose, for example, who it's like this email is registering in this website. So it means they could be LGBTQ, and maybe in some countries is bad. Yeah. So these things, it's important. You don't want to expose anything. Yeah. So the more you limit stuff, the more the secure. That's all about what we did. Okay. Let's do now first, and then we come back to our notes more. Let's go now to do this problem. It is sending hash passwords for the password of the user in response. Let's get rid of that. We want to make sure that if a response goes like this, the password is not included inside of the response. Okay? Let's do this. There are different bunch of ways to do it. Okay? But I would like to show you a best practice way. Yeah, and it's usually done in a schema. So the way I do it, it's here. It's route, sorry, in the model schema. Yeah. Please code along with me if you want. If you're ready, let me share. But before that, is it clear what we want to do now? Yeah, okay. The live share is in the chat if you want it. All right. So we can, there is a built-in, there is a built-in function inside of schema that is responsible for sending response. Okay? So when you say, hey, give me the users, give me the product, give me that, and we say rest.send, behind the scene, rest.sends, there is another function that is preparing this JSON file for us. Yeah? So when you make this request, the response is coming. Someone behind the scene is preparing you this array of messages and puts the information about the user there. We want to that person, that function already prepares this, we want to tell, hey, remove this before you send any response, remove this. So we want to somehow rewrite that built-in function just to modify that. Okay? So that function is I think toJSON, the name of that function already built in. It's responsible for making it toJSON file. See, we want to tell, hey, toJSON, whatever you do, just get rid of the password. We don't want that. And it's inside of the schema. We want to access to that and rewrite the function. All right? So we can say, hey, user schema. It's inside of statics. The statics is including all the built-in functions, the statics built-in functions inside of that. So user schema has a statics, which is that statics has a bunch of functions inside. One of the functions that is inside is toJSON, this one. This toJSON, we want to overwrite it or modify it with another function. So we're going to say function. Okay. Let's experiment that. This toJSON receives a user data. Yeah. Or it doesn't receive anything. I think when the request is coming, this function is running, the toJSON. The toJSON is preparing the object of the user sending to the front end. Okay, let's start with console logging. If you want to get access to what is really sending, like whatever was asked, is this keyword. This keyword, do you know it already? This, have you seen it somewhere in JavaScript? Yeah. So this referring to this user that is trying to be registered, or this user that you're trying to get. So it's referring to a user object, so to say. Yeah. So let me put something. This is the user object. Yeah. Let's start with the console log. So every request that is coming, it runs your schema and also it runs this function. And what we do is just we console logging for now. Let's test it. I'm gonna get, or let's register instead of get. I'm gonna register this time. Who didn't I register so far? Mazan, I think. And Mazan password is 1, 2, 3, 4 HP something. Yeah. So let's register. Fantastic. It's registered. But look at the console log now. Oh. Where is the console log? I expected the console log to come. It's not running. I think it's not inside of statics. Let me ask Copilot, because toJSON either is this inside of statics or somewhere. Let me check it. I really don't know where it's located, this toJSON in the user schema. Copilot. Not explain. I want to ask. Wait. Where is? Yeah, there is another one to set, but I don't want to use the set one. It's so complicated about syntax. I don't like it. Where is toJSON? Located. Is it inside of statics? Statics. You can define statics method, okay. So there is another way of writing that. It's telling you can use it as an option inside of the schema. I don't like this. It's too complicated. No, I wanna rewrite the toJSON. Where was it located? Oh no, that's not what I want. You know what? I'm gonna Google it. Why I forgot that? So, what should I Google? Sorry?
You can also use those method.
What? Can you tell? Maybe I remember it now. Okay. Yeah, that methods. I think that's it. But to make sure, remove passwords from response to JSON. Let's see what we get. But I think it's dot methods instead of dot statics. Let's see. Yeah, look at that. It's user schema dot methods dot toJSON. All right. Good. Instead of statics, because statics is if you want to add your own custom functions, yeah, into the schema, you can add it inside of statics and you can call it whenever you want, everywhere. But methods, inside of methods, schema, yeah, it really makes sense. Schema has a lot of methods, and inside of the methods, one of them is toJSON that we want to rewrite that. I think now that works. Let's see. I'm gonna make another request. Let's register. I'm too lazy. Mazom2 and Mazom2. Sending the request. User successfully registered, and you can see. This is the user object, which is coming from the console log of the schema that we had. And this referring to the user that was registered. So the object user. Yeah. We have this in our hand, which means we have this thing, this object in our hand before sending the response. What we need to do is like, we're gonna tell, hey, please get rid of the password. We don't want that. And then send the password, then send the user. All right. So to do this is pretty much easy. This actually, this object actually is not an object. Okay? Because it's not an object, we cannot delete with the delete method from it. You know what I mean? Do you know how to remove as an example node. So const user, let's say it's an object. Oops, wait. Let me clear again. Node const user equals 2. Let's say user, let's say name, Zom, and password is 123, and age is 24. All right, you have such an object, and I want so if I check the user now, you can see it's our user now. If you want to delete one property means either name, either password, or age, out of this object, how do you do this? Is JavaScript, you had it already? How do you delete a property from an object? Owen? Exactly.
Delete object dot property name.
Exactly. Fantastic. That's, oops. Oh, no, it's, that's exactly, there is a delete method especially working for objects. This method is working on the object. You can say, okay, delete, and then the name of your object is user, dots inside of it. What do you want to delete? Let's delete password. Okay, bang. So response true. Let's check the object again. You can see we removed password out of it. That's how you delete a property from an object. Does that make sense? Is it clear? Great. You want to do the same here. But the problem is that this is not an object. It looks like an object. So it looks like an object, but it's a BSON type. Do you know what is a BSON type of data? Have you talked about it with when you had database the first day of MongoDB with your teacher? All right. BSON is it's looking like an object. It's almost an object, but it's not an object 100%. BSON is type of data of MongoDB. So when someone asks you how the type of the data that MongoDB saves your data in the database, you say it's a JSON or it's an object, but it's not. It's a BSON type of data. They call it BSON. It looks like an object, but it's not. Yeah. So this means if it's not an object, you cannot use this delete method that we used it on it. Let's test it if it really works. So I'm gonna say this. We can do this. We can say the user is like that. Const user. This is user equals to this. Yeah. Everyone agree because this is referring to the user. Fantastic. Now I'm gonna say, hey, delete user dot password inside. And then now let's console log user variable. Let's see if it's deleting. If it's deleting that, then it's like here we should see only those that left. So the password should be deleted from that. Let's test it. I'm gonna say Amazon 3, bang. So this is the first console log. This is the first console log, and the next one is coming from here. And you can see the password is not deleted from that. We tried to delete it, but it's not deleted. This means it's because this, which looks like an object, it's not an object. It's a BSON type. This means we should first convert it to an object. Okay? So inside of this, there is a method that is converting that for us to an object, which is toObject. This one. What it does, it's converting this BSON type, which looks like an object, to a real object. Now it's a real object. We delete it and we console log it. Let's test it now. So Amazon 4, send, bang. Let's see now. The first console log, we have the this, which means referring to the object of the user, Amazon 4. And the next one, you can see there is no password. So we successfully deleted that. Does that make sense? Or question? Yeah, great. Fantastic. That's how you just get rid of the password from the response. And at the end, look at that, because now the response, it doesn't have the user inside of it. Because before this, look at that. I'm going to comment out this, that you can see. Let's say we don't have this. And when someone registers, we have the message and we have the inside of the response, the user. Look at that. Let's 5 and 5. So without this function, I just commented it out, you would see the response is with a message and the entire user. Yeah. Why we didn't get that? When we have this function, we just get the message, not the entire object. That's bad. Look at that. Test it again. Amazon 6. Send. It's just sending the message and doesn't send the user response, like the entire object, because we are rewriting that to JSON. Okay, it's already there, but we say, hey, delete this one, and we have to tell return the user, because we just console logging that. If you don't return the updated user without password, then that's why you get undefined or null, and then the null is not sent to the front end. Yeah, so make sure that you return the updated user, which means this one that we removed it, and that's it. That should work now. Let's test it. Amazon 7. Oh, it's full of Amazon in the database. Sent. Fantastic. User successfully registered, and the response, there is no password inside. Even I tried to get all of the users. Look at that. There is no password inside of it. No one has access anymore to see any password from the user. Make sense? Great. Also, this is extra information. This underline V, which is versioning, is just coming from the MongoDB. You don't need this in your data. Your front end doesn't care about that. It's just extra information. Why we don't get rid of that also? I don't want this to be sent. The same thing, we can just delete We take the user, we say underline, underline, we. It's gonna get rid of that also. And let's test it. Let's get all the users, bang. Fantastic. More clean now. We have just only ID of the user, username, email, and bio. Sense? Makes sense? Yes, great. Yeah. Cool. That's it. For the security issue, you're gonna have something like this, so make sure that you have it. Okay? If you don't have a question, let's go back to our notes. Any question? All right. Notes. Let me prepare my notes here again. Let me see what I wanted to talk about. So let me close this. Should I make it bigger, the text, or is enough? Yeah, bigger? All right. That's too big, but it's okay. Yeah. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is account verification email. This part is just the theory part, so to say, but let's build it really. Let's build an email verification. Maybe it takes time, but please do it along with me. It's good experience to know it how these things works. Email verification is like user account emails are very commonly verified. Yeah, you register somewhere, they send you an email. Say, please verify your email. Who knows what I mean? And who knows why they send something like this? Well, when you register, you have to click on a link and then they say, okay, you verify. We already talked about it.
We get an email that we have to verify that it's us.
Yes, yes, but a better definition, so to say. Yeah, you have to verify it's you, and you have to verify your email or Gmail or whatever is real. You're not just registering with a garbage email to be just registered, because it's important that you don't want garbage emails to your database that they don't even exist. Yeah, so you want real users. They have access to the email. That's why they send you that. And also they want to get track of if you have a subscription, they need to know, oh, this mickey@gmail.com is registering to our website 2 weeks already using the free trial of our services. Now after 2 weeks, they have to, if they want to continue, they have to subscribe. Yeah, they need to get track of the real users. So they send you an email. The email actually contains a link. What you receive as a button, activate, it's just a link inside when you click on that button. You can only use your account after you click on that link. Yeah? Why? Because of a stupid spam. Because we want to ensure users can get our emails, and because we want to sell advertised lists of verified emails who use our sites and so on, we send all of this verification email to make sure that they are real. We want to sell something. We want to get track of them. Okay? So how it's done? I want to try to draw that, and after drawing, let's build it. Okay. Okay, 15 minutes still. How to draw. All right. So I just want you to visualize that how the theory works behind. I try my best, but okay. This is your front end. This is your server or your backend, okay? And you have an endpoint responsible for registration, okay? Someone make a request, they put their credentials, username, password, whatever, to register to your system. Fantastic. You check everything, you validate if the password is strong, if email is email, you check everything, validate the user information, and then you say, okay, let's save it to the database. This is your database. And then you send it to MongoDB and you save it. MongoDB responds back and says, hey, I saved it, fantastic. And then what we were doing, we were sending back a successful matches registration done. That's the user information. So far we did this. Is that clear? Okay. Before we send this as a successfully you are registered, we want to, after we save it to the database successfully, then we want to send an email. So we have the email user information. We just got it and saved it to the database. Now we get the email of this user that was registered, and we prepare a link for that. So this link is important. This link is to another endpoint somewhere here in your server, that is to, let's say, /API/users/verify with an ID, a unique ID at the end of it. Yeah, so it's a localhost 777/API/users/ let's say verify/ a unique ID. This is the link that actually we put in the email. Yeah, so a link that is, when the user clicks on that, it refers to our endpoint here. So it makes the request actually to this endpoint. So let's do it again. The request is coming, user is registered to our database. When the MongoDB says, yes, I registered that, we send the email to the user. This is the email somewhere here in the internet. After that, we send the email. This email goes and we say also, we tell the, after we send the email, we tell the user a response. We say, hey, you are successfully installed, registered. But you receive an email, we send you an email, you have to verify the email. That's what the user receives actually as a message. So far this procedure is done. After registration, you prepare the link. That link has a button. Inside the button has a link, which is like to HTTP localhost 777/API/users/verify with a unique ID. We need to generate that unique ID. And we put it into a button, send the email. The user receives the email, goes to the email and checks the email. There's a button and there's a message there. Hey, verify your account. That button, we put it a link there. When they click on that, it's actually making a request to this endpoint we have in our database. It's coming to HTTP localhost 777/API/users/verify with a unique ID. It comes here. So it comes here, we can get access to this unique ID in this endpoint, and we look in our database who has this endpoint, who has this ID actually. And we check, oh, Mazom4 has this ID. Fantastic, this means Mazom clicked on the button. We take the Mazom object, we say it's verified, true. And we send a response back, okay, you are verified, fantastic. This is the procedure happening behind the scene. Is that clear? Or somehow? Jakub says yes. How about others? You can ask questions. It's the theory part. We're still not going to the live coding. Because the theory is important. When you understand it, then the live coding will be much easier actually. To verify that it's not a bot registering or dummy email. Yeah, exactly, Isa. Definitely. That's why we verify, we send an email verification, so to say. All right. So, after registration successfully, we send the email to the user and we send a response. You are registered. Check your email, activate your email. User goes to the email, clicks on the link that we provided for them. When they click, that link is coming back to one of our endpoints in the backend. In that endpoint, we can get the ID from the link. When we get it, we go to our database to see who has this ID. It's Mazom5. This means, hey, Mazom5 clicked on that because we received this ID from the link. Then this means they activated that. Let's change Mazom to verified true and send back a response, you're verified. You can log in now. Let's do this. Any question before that? All right. I consider it as a no question. But before we live code it, we need to talk about some parts. Before we go to the live coding, the hard part of this is really only sending the email. Yeah, the rest is just much easy, because making an email is theoretically simple, but it's very difficult in practice. Like the sending email is the difficult one, because email is very ancient technology. Okay, it's weird, I can say. I don't know why they didn't update it. These are there are many standards and concepts related to it. Yeah, and it's just back in the old, I can say. So, because it's very old technology and there are different ways of sending email, the simplest method is using SMTP. The SMTP, who knows what is that? Have you I don't know, seen something? No? Okay. What is SMTP in sending emails? Explain in simple words. let's see how you explain it. It stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is the basic set of rules that email servers use to send emails over the internet. In simple words, SMTP is like the postal service for emails. When you send an email, SMTP is the system that takes your message and delivers it to the recipient email server. It only handles sending, not receiving or reading the email. Okay, so to make it more simple, it's just a tool that helps you to send an email somewhere. Okay, the easiest way, so to say. There are other methods or ways. That's a simple mail transport protocol. We can do that by installing the NodeMailer. That's I found it the most easiest and direct way to send an email with this package. Okay, and you can use this to craft or send an email. This gets sent to an SMT server like Google, yeah, and then you might have to authenticate who is the sender. So how it works, when you use NodeMailer in your code, you're telling NodeMailer, hey, send email to mickey@gmail.com. Yeah, you're telling the NodeMailer is want to send to Mickey an email, but NodeMailer is not allowed to do it because it's telling, you know what, Google or your Gmail that you are sending to, let's say your Gmail is your application name or your own Gmail that you are sending to the Mickey an email. NodeMailer says, I'm not allowed to do that because it's not secure to do this. Gmail doesn't let me to send the email. Then NodeMailer needs access to your Gmail account in a secure way. We needed to create a password from the Gmail. Gmail provides us that. It says if you want to use NodeMailer, use this password, then I let NodeMailer to do stuff with your account. So that's why we need to authenticate who is the sender. So the Gmail needs to allow NodeMailer to use your Gmail to send an email to someone else. And they will then decide what to do with it. Then the NodeMailer, when they have access to your Gmail that they are allowed to send, then they do it by themselves. Yeah, okay. That's what the NodeMailer does, but NodeMailer usually, because it's not a very, so to say, secure package, when the email is sent to someone, they receive it in the spam folder. So you need to specify for the first time. Yeah, you need to specify the user when you're sending, because it's free. Yeah, there are other packages that they are not free. You have to pay for that, and it's not going to the spam. It goes straight ahead to the inbox of the email. And NodeMailer is sending it to the spam, but you can specify as a note, hey, please check your spam folder. Maybe it's there, the email. You tell it to your users. They check it, and when they accept it for one time, then when you send them email, it never goes to the spam. It goes straight ahead to the inbox. Okay, so this is the NodeMailer, and I'm gonna show you how to use it with the NodeMailer, but it's much easier just using a third-party services, but they are paid. Yeah, they have an API, and you can just, they take care of everything. Yeah, you just use that API, and then they send email, they do everything for you. It's just much easier. And they have other services too, security and so on. One of them that is very easy to use, just straight ahead, using an API, is this website, resend.com. Okay. Oh, come here, come here. So I already have an account, and if I check it's a paid version. Okay. Let me see. I already tested that. Metrics, API keys. Yeah, this is an actually a API key that they give you. Let me, if I can create, and there are examples how to use it. You just import it, use it in this way. You put your API key here, and then that's it. You just call the function. It's gonna do stuff for you. Okay, pretty easy. But it's paid version, and it needs a lot of setup, and you need to do some configuration and so on. Yeah, if you have someday a plan to use a paid version of email, that's a good one to go, but the NodeMailer are doing the job for you anyway, and it's free. All right, so we need to use NodeMailer. And I've prepared the sending function of the email last night. Okay, I don't want to code it from the scratch. I can send it to you, that you can have it. Save it to a file, name it sendemail.js. Let me put it somewhere. Let me put it in Slack actually. Slack. Come on. So I'm gonna put it into learning materials. Save this in a file, something like send email .js. We go soon to a break. So it's inside of the learning materials. You can take it, and what I would do, because it's a function, like I would like to put it some inside of a lib folder or utils folder somewhere here. So we can say send email.js. So this is my password, so please don't use it. Okay, let me edit this. So this should come your own password here, that we're gonna get it now after break. Okay. And also your email. So this is my email. So here should be your email and the password of your email, which is we're gonna get it from Gmail app password. So have this. We will talk about it. What does it do? And then we start building. Okay. Let's be back in 15 minutes, which is 47. All right. Have a good break. See you at 47.
Jay?
Yes.
I missed something with the previous one because I just went step out my a little bit.
Should I push the code?
I will add it later, or yeah, you can also push the code, maybe it's better.
Yeah, get app get commit halfway still working on verification email. Yes. So it's pushed and you can have it.
Okay, let me have a look at it. Thank you.
All right. See you soon, guys.